There is a quiet tension many young men carry today that never quite gets named. A tension between how the body should respond and how it sometimes does not. And if you have ever felt confusion or frustration where confidence once lived, this is not a personal failure or a private defect. It is a signal that something deeper has been shaping the nervous system long before symptoms appeared, and staying with this message means stepping out of confusion and into understanding, not to assign blame or provoke fear, but to reclaim command over a system that was never designed to be overstimulated, fragmented, and rushed in the way modern life has trained it to be. Erectile dysfunction did not suddenly appear in young men by accident. It emerged alongside a cultural shift that rewired how desire, arousal, and attention are formed. Because male sexual response is not isolated to the body alone, it is governed by the brain, the nervous system, and the ability to remain present under stimulation. And when these systems are flooded with constant novelty, artificial intensity, and instant reward, the body begins to lose its sensitivity to natural cues, not because it is broken, but because it has been trained to expect excess. And when real life cannot compete with that level of stimulation, responsiveness quietly declines. Pornography plays a central role in this shift, not as a moral issue, but as a neurological one, because it teaches the brain to associate arousal with endless variety, zero effort, and immediate release. And over time the dopamine system adapts, requiring more stimulation for the same response, which dulls the body's ability to respond to real presence, real touch, and real connection. And this creates a situation where a young man may feel desire intellectually yet struggle physically, not because attraction is absent, but because the nervous system has been conditioned to respond to novelty rather than intimacy. This conditioning also fragments attention, because arousal becomes linked to distraction rather than focus. And focus is essential for sexual function, just as it is essential for combat readiness, craftsmanship, leadership, and prayer. And when attention is scattered by screens, stress, comparison, and constant stimulation, the body remains in a low-grade state of tension rather than relaxed readiness, which interferes with natural response. Because erection is not a function of force, it is a function of trust within the nervous system, a signal that the environment is safe enough to allow energy to flow rather than remain guarded. Modern life compounds this issue through chronic stress, poor sleep, sedentary habits, processed food, and constant mental noise, all of which elevate cortisol and exhaust the system responsible for vitality. And while these factors are often treated separately, they converge in the same place. A nervous system that is overstimulated, yet under-recovered, alert yet fatigued, and unable to shift smoothly between states of intensity and rest, which is why many young men feel driven yet depleted, ambitious yet unfocused, outwardly functional, yet privately disconnected from their own vitality. Historically, masculine cultures understood that sexual energy was inseparable from overall life force. Warriors trained their bodies and breath to remain calm under pressure. Kings practiced restraint to preserve clarity. Monks cultivated stillness to refine desire into devotion. Builders respected cycles of effort and rest to sustain strength over time. And none of these men lived in constant stimulation. They lived within rhythms that allowed the nervous system to recover, recalibrate, and respond fully when needed. And erectile dysfunction was rare not because they were superior, but because their environment supported coherence rather than fragmentation. Semen retention, when approached as disciplined rather than deprivation, becomes a tool for restoring that coherence, because it teaches the nervous system that arousal does not require immediate discharge. That energy can be held without anxiety, and that presence can be sustained without escape. And this retraining reverses the damage caused by overstimulation, not through force, but through patience, awareness, and repeated choice, which strengthens the connection between mind and body, rather than weakening it. As retention practice deepens, many men notice improvements not only in sexual function but in focus, confidence, emotional stability, and physical vitality, because the same system governs all of these expressions. And when energy is no longer constantly leaked through compulsive release or mental distraction, it becomes available for repair, regeneration, and strength. And this is not mystical, it is physiological. The body responds to conservation with resilience, and the nervous system responds to discipline with trust. It is important to understand that erectile dysfunction in young men is not a verdict. It is feedback that the system has been overloaded, rushed, or miseducated, and feedback can be responded to intelligently by reducing artificial stimulation, improving sleep and nutrition, moving the body with intention, practicing breath control, and cultivating sexual discipline that restores sensitivity rather than dulling it further. And each of these actions communicates safety and stability to the nervous system, allowing function to return naturally rather than being forced chemically. Pharmaceutical solutions may offer temporary assistance, but they do not address the underlying training of the nervous system. And relying on them too early can further disconnect a man from his own agency, reinforcing the idea that function must be outsourced rather than cultivated. Whereas true recovery strengthens self-trust, the confidence that the body can respond when the environment and habits support it, and that confidence itself becomes a catalyst for vitality. Rebuilding male sexual health is inseparable from rebuilding male self-command, because the same discipline that governs desire governs ambition, the same restraint that preserves energy preserves clarity, and the same awareness that restores sensitivity restores purpose. And when a man understands this, erectile dysfunction is no longer a source of shame. It becomes a turning point, a moment where false training gives way to deliberate mastery. This path is not about rejecting pleasure or fearing desire. It is about restoring the conditions under which pleasure and desire function fully, naturally, and without dependency. And as discipline replaces compulsion, and awareness replaces distraction, the body remembers what it was designed to do, because vitality is not something to be chased. It is something that emerges when the system is governed wisely, and that wisdom has always been available to men willing to slow down, reclaim control, and lead themselves with intention.